Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodel's Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about World of Tanks Blitz Reforged. And the major question is, will it kill the game? I think that's what a lot of you have been saying. Blitz Reforged is going to be the end of Blitz. It's going to kill the game as we know it. It's no longer going to be fun. It's going to ruin the game. And I've seen a lot of people saying Wargaming just wants the game to rot. You know, I've seen a lot of people saying this. And to an extent, I don't disagree. If the current version, if this game that I'm playing right now live were to be released tomorrow, the game would die. 100%. The game does not look good. It does not run well. There's a lot of problems, a lot of glitches, and a lot of bugs. And as I said, if the current version that I'm playing right now were released tomorrow, the game would die. However, that's not actually the case, and that's not what's going to be happening when it comes to Reforged. In reality, we are not going to be having this version of the game. This is the Ultra Test. Wargaming has confirmed that, right? The reason they released the Ultra Test was so that we could give our opinions on what we like, what we don't like, and what we want added and changed into the game. And that's exactly what we as the community have done. We've been very vocal, we've been very opinionated, and we've said exactly what we want and exactly what we don't want in Reforged. And Wargaming has listened to us. I was in a chat with the CC Content Creator Manager, and he even told me he's glad that I've been so opinionated because of the fact that a lot of other content creators really haven't been. And they want our honest opinions on what is their feeling about Reforged, what we feel about Reforged as the player base. And it's why I've been very crucial and why I've been so, negative about certain things, but I've also tried to be positive about other things that I like. And that's exactly where we are right now with Reforged, right? There's a lot of things I don't like, and there's a few things that I do like. But the thing that I'm really, really happy about, and for once kind of excited about, is the fact that it seems Wargaming might be taking on a different direction as a company. As we know, for years, Wargaming has been the company that doesn't listen to their player base. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was the fact that they had Russian devs in the past and they didn't care about what we had to think because there was also a huge Russian player base. But right now, the largest player base that plays Blitz is English speaking because it's Europeans and then Americans, right? So the largest player base of this game is now English speaking. And what that means is that they're actually listening to what we have to say. A lot of us have been complaining about the Blitz Reforged update. A lot of us. Basically, every single player has had something to say negative about Blitz Reforged. And that is actually kind of good. Also, how much can I HE this guy for? Come on. Nah, I'm just going to fire standard HE. I had Duncan's ability, so I was hoping I could get a big old chunker there. But the thing that I was saying is that for once, it seems like Wargaming's actually listening to the player base. And to me, that's kind of huge. Because I've always been under the impression that Wargaming doesn't really care what the player base thinks, right? I've always been under the impression that whatever we think, they just couldn't give a rat's ass about. Great examples of this, the collector price changes. Wargaming changed the collector prices. They, let's say you sold a T95E6. Previously, you sold a T95E6, and you get 15,000 gold for it. Now, if you sell the tank, you get 7,000 gold. And not only that, but to get the tank back, it costs you 15,000 gold. So you lose 7,500 gold when you sell the collector. You lose 50% of the gold. It used to be, it was an even amount. Now, I do agree that you needed to lose some gold because there were people that were abusing the system and they were making it essentially so that, you could sell your tank for 15,000 gold and then buy another tank for 15,000 gold and then just swap in between those two vehicles, selling them and buying them because there was no loss in gold. So I do think that there should have been like a 20% loss in gold. But 50% was absolutely ridiculous and too much. And it's not just that. They added SBMM into the game. Nobody wanted skill-based matchmaking, and they still added it into the game. The entire player base complained until they removed it a month later. But, why did they work on that to begin with? Nobody wanted skill-based matchmaking, and they still put these things into the game. And Reforged is the same thing. It's Wargaming's devs thinking one thing, and then in reality, it's the players going an entirely different road. It has been like this over and over and over again. When Wargaming rebalances the game, and they do all the tier 10 balance changes, there are so many decisions that I do not agree with, and there are so many decisions that other players don't agree with. And if Wargaming just sat down and listened to players which were actually skilled, which actually understood the balance behind the game and the decision making, it would be a lot better, right? I know Wargaming has this whole spreadsheet where they look at exactly, oh, this tank's performing too well, this tank's not popular enough, and this tank's too popular. Let's nerf this tank, let's buff this tank, so that way people start grinding this line. I understand it, right? I know that they have a lot more in-depth thought process than we think, but at the end of the day, they're reading all their numbers off a spreadsheet. And what they need to be doing is actually listening to the players that are skilled, listening to the players that know how these tanks perform, and that way you can balance them better. There's a lot of things like that. So, why do I think Blitz Reforged is going to be fine? Well, it's because of the fact that Wargaming is actually listening to us. That's the major thing. Wargaming has already said they're planning on changing a lot of the issues that we've complained about. First of all, they've nerfed the commanders. When I first saw commanders and the buffs and the abilities they had, I pointed out immediately that they were way too overpowered and they needed to be nerfed. And Wargaming did that. I don't know if they listened to me, but I can tell you for a fact that I was the most outspoken on commanders and them being needed to be nerfed, and they did nerf them. So good job. I actually give you guys credit. That was good. And I think commanders, for the most part, are balanced now. There are still, you know, the Lisa, I think it is, the tank destroyer commander. She needs to be balanced out. And there's a lot of things which needs to be fixed. But for the most part, commanders have been balanced out, and I'm fine with that. When it comes to the UI, Wargaming has announced that not only are they going to be reworking sets and how we look at them, they're going to be reorganizing the tanks in the sets, but they're also going to be adding a tech tree-like UI element. They've actually confirmed that on their official channel. So once again, we complained about something and they're changing it. We've complained about the commander looks, and they're going to be making commanders look more realistic, more like tank commanders. These are all things which we as the player base have complained about. We complained about the fact that in the current open test, there's no stats. We can't see our mastery badges. We can't see other players' stats. And Wargaming has confirmed that there will be stats. There will be mastery badges. All of our stats, which we currently have, will be brought over. Pubs will have stats. And they've confirmed that the API is going to be making a return. And Blitzstars and websites that we currently love to use will be making a renewal as well. So there's a lot of things that we initially were told, hey, this isn't happening, or weren't in the open test, but Wargaming has confirmed will be coming into the game. And that's great. That actually is great. I'm so happy to see that for once in our life, Wargaming is listening to the community. They made a stream, and they shut down a lot of the issues and misconceptions that players may have. There were some things which I had written down. So I talked to Wargaming, the Wargaming CC manager, like 2 weeks ago. And I asked him if it was possible I could talk to Wargaming devs and if I could share my opinions and things like that. And he said, yeah, we can make that possible. And I wrote down this whole list the day of questions that I was going to ask. And one of the questions had to do with the removal of stats. It had to do with the removal of stats. And then like a day after I wrote those questions and sent them, Wargaming said that stats will be making their way into the game. Now, I doubt that what I sent actually made its way to the Wargaming team in that time, because I didn't even get a reply to what I sent. And I actually removed that before I got a reply from the CC manager. But the fact that, like, one of the major questions, one of the major problems I had, stats, the fact that Wargaming actually confirmed that, hey, we're actually going to be putting stats into the game, that's really good. The major aspect of Blitz to me is stats. I think we can all agree that being able to stat track and being able to see how we improve as a player is one of the most important things out there. And that was one of the major complaints I was having with Reforged. So you actually don't know how happy I am that they have listened and they have cleared up one of the big issues that I had, that a lot of you guys have had. And there are still a lot of things to come, right? The game itself runs terrible. I'm getting 70 FPS right now. Like, if I show you my FPS counter, look at my FPS. I'm getting 80 to 70 FPS. I have a 4090. I have a 7950X 3D. This is a joke. My FPS should be running literally like 160 max, but it's not. And it's a great example on how the game is just incredibly poorly optimized. And before you guys say, oh, Unreal Engine 5 is poor optimization, a Fortnite runs on Unreal Engine 5. I don't see people complaining about Fortnite's optimization. I don't agree with that. It's how the developers themselves optimize the game. The physics right now of Unreal Engine are kind of goofy, and they need to be a little bit better. Flying AMXs, for example. So there's a lot of things which are being worked on, which I'm hoping that Wargaming continues to work on more in the future, and as these things happen, we can expect the game to develop more, right? Oh, my FPS is really tanking right now. What the heck is going on? Yeah, again, look at this. Like, what is this lag, bruh? This is absolutely awful. I don't know what the heck's going on, but you know what? Got the kill. That's all that matters. Oh, is it running normal again? It is. It's running normal again. But the point being, there is a lot of problems we have at the game. There is a lot of issues, and I am glad that Wargaming is appearing to finally listen to the player base and actually do something about these problems rather than sitting there and not saying anything, right? That's what I'm glad about. So I actually do think that a lot of the problems we have with Reforged, a lot of the issues we have with the game will be solved in the future. I think the lag is going to be their major priority, but they have confirmed they're going to be fixing the UI. They have confirmed that they're going to be fixing a lot of these problems. And because of that, to me, it means that the game is going to be in a much better state. I really hope that this is the continuation from Wargaming. As I said, I'm going to be talking to them on Sunday. The fact that they're even willing to talk to me about things that I disagree with, things that I agree with about the game, that is huge. Because for a while, I've always felt like I've just been this black sheep and I haven't had any opportunity to really contact Wargaming. But now it seems like they might actually be willing to work and talk to me. And that's something that means a lot, you know? So hopefully the more that this game progresses, I can kind of be a bridge between Wargaming and the community, and I can make the game more unified. That's really the best thing to say. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I do not think Reforged is going to kill the game. I'm optimistic about it. I have been optimistic about it. Before Reforged was released and we saw trailers of it, I said I was optimistic about it. And even after Reforged was released and we got to mess around with it here, I still said I'm optimistic about certain things and I hope that they fix others. There's been a lot of people that are very negative, and those same people are going to be very negative today. They're going to say I'm paid by Wargaming. Whatever. If you want to complain about it, if you want to cry about it, go ahead. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look on the bright side. I'm going to look on the fact that Wargaming is actually listening to the community, and I'm going to be constructive rather than just useless and mindlessly complaining. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.